going to look at adding and subtracting polynomials. So adding and subtracting polynomials is very similar to combining like terms, which we've done all semester. So combining like terms, I'll even start with the hardest one down here. So combining like terms is just when you cannot add or subtract terms unless they're the exact same variable with the same exponent. So for example, here this 5x and a 7w squared, they can't be combined because they're not alike. So when you combine like terms, I would look at all of the w squared terms and I would combine them. And by combine them, I mean I would add the coefficients. So 7 and negative 2 would make 5w squared. So then maybe next I would look at the x terms. So I have negative 5x plus 4x. So if I combine the coefficients, negative 5 and positive 4 would give me negative 1x. And you do not have to write the 1, it's understood. Then I would have that positive 3w that has no like terms. And then the negative 6. So when we're adding and subtracting polynomials, you really are combining like terms. And so here I have a polynomial with 1, 2, 3, 4 terms, and I'm adding it to a trinomial here with 1, 2, 3 terms. So first notice there's nothing to distribute with this first polynomial. The parentheses are actually unnecessary. There's nothing outside that's telling me to distribute. So I'm going to just rewrite this here. And again, on the second polynomial, there's nothing here to distribute. This is a plus sign. And so this polynomial is not going to change. So this is going to be plus 3x squared plus 7 minus 4x. And now this becomes exactly like the combining like terms problems that we've already done. And so when you combine like terms, I'm going to urge you to put it in standard form as you go. And so standard form says I start with that highest exponent, that x cubed. So I would have 5x cubed. Then I look and I would combine all the x squared terms. So here is positive 2x squared. And I'm going to combine that with positive 3x squared. So that gives me positive 5 or plus 5x squared. And when I look to combine my x terms, so I have a negative 1x minus 4x, which gives me negative 5x. And then last, the two constants, so I have positive 7, so I get plus 14. So what I've just done is I have added these two polynomials. So for subtraction you have to be more careful, and that's where mistakes are more likely to happen. Because when you are subtracting, this whole polynomial is supposed to be subtracted, everything in parentheses. So it's like when we were simplifying equations or expressions or solving equations when you had to like distribute the negative. So I'm going to start like I did before, and I'm going to rewrite this first one. There's nothing to distribute out here. So this first polynomial is negative 2x cubed plus 5x squared minus x plus 8. And now this minus, it's essentially like I'm distributing a negative 1 to all of those terms. So that's one way to think about it. Or I think about subtracting each one of those. So if you subtract negative 2x cubed, that is going to be plus. So remember, subtracting negative would be adding 2x cubed. So if I subtract positive 3x, that would be like minus 3x. And if I subtract negative 4, minus 4 makes it plus 4. So subtraction is going to change the sign of every term in parentheses. So that became positive, that became negative, and that became positive. It's like distributing a negative 1. So now I would go through and I would combine like terms just like normal. So I'm going to start with my highest exponent, which is to the third power. So I have a negative 2x cubed plus a 2x cubed. And so those will actually be 0. Negative 2x cubed plus 2x cubed is 0. So then I would look at my x squared terms. I have a positive 5x squared. There are no other x squared terms. When I combine the x to the first powers, I have negative x, negative 1x, minus 3x, which make negative 4x. And then I have positive 8 and positive 4, which make positive 12. So I would like to encourage you to pause the video, try the next example, then play the video and see how you did. So here I'm subtracting these two polynomials. Since there's nothing to distribute on this first one, I'm just going to rewrite it. The parentheses aren't necessary. And when I'm subtracting, it is like I'm distributing a negative 1. So that would become minus 7x. That would become minus 4x squared. And so once I've done that, this is now just a problem of combining like terms. So to combine like terms, I have 1x squared minus 4x squared. So 1x squared minus 4x squared is negative 3x squared. And I have negative 7x, and it is the only x to the first power term, so there's nothing to combine with. And then this minus 8, it's the only constant, so it's minus 8, and I'm done. Okay. And now here we have two more examples, and notice here they're just written vertically instead of horizontally. And it's really the same thing, like maybe in elementary school, sometimes a worksheet said 2 plus 3, and sometimes a worksheet said 2 plus 3, and it's the same. So you can choose if you want to rewrite those and write them differently, but I would encourage you to pause the video, try them out, and see how you do. Okay, so I am going to rewrite this for myself here. So I'm going to write it like this. You do not have to do that. It's just something I like to do. And so whenever I go to solve this one, again, this first polynomial, there's nothing out here to distribute, so it is not going to change. The parentheses don't change it. And then this is going to become negative or minus x cubed. This is going to become minus 5x squared. And this is going to become, this is important, plus 3. So when I do that, now I'm ready to combine like terms. So I have negative x cubed is the only x cubed term. So here we go. When I look at the x squared terms, I have 1x squared minus 5x squared. So 1x squared minus 5x squared is negative 4x squared. Next I have positive 4x. There's no other x terms to combine with. And for the constants, I have negative 5 plus 3, which make negative 2. And that is my final answer. So again, I would encourage you to pause it to try this next one. You can check your answer with me. So whenever you combine like terms here, whenever you add these two, you are going to get x cubed. I've used that up. And then 1x squared plus 5x squared will be plus 6x squared. Plus 4x, and then I have minus 5 minus 3, which makes that minus 8. And there you have it. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work at multiplying. But for now, just try the adding and subtracting, give the homework a go, and see how you do. Let me know if you have questions. Thanks.